You're listening to the Unstoppable Teen podcast, episode number 4. Welcome to Unstoppable Teen, the podcast for teenagers, parents and teachers. My name is Kevin Mincher. Every week we will bring you an inspirational person or message to help you experience more success and happiness. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's get this party started. Hello Unstoppable Nation, it's Kevin here. Welcome to the show. In this episode, it's all about what Olympic gold medal winners can teach us about success. Of course, the Olympic Games have been on recently. It's the Summer Olympics down in Rio 2016. And I don't know whether you love sports or loathe them, but the fact is that success leaves clues. In other words, where people are achieving great things, there are things that we can learn to improve our own levels of achievement. I can sit and watch for hours, not just athletes, but anybody that's brilliant at anything. Whether they're a painter and decorator, a work in construction, law, medicine, software engineer, it doesn't matter. When I come across people that are brilliant at things and they're at the top of their game, I can sit for hours observing and listening. And I've been paying attention not just to the performances that have been happening in the Olympics, but to the interviews that have been taking place after performances, where people have been telling us how they've actually produced the results that they've produced. And what I want to do is pass on to you 7 things that I've learned through this year's Summer Olympics. So let's get started with secret to success number 1. And I learned this from a gentleman called Ben Ryan. You may never have heard of him, but he's the coach that worked with the Fiji rugby sevens team. Now, you might be thinking, why on earth have you picked the Fiji rugby sevens team when there's all these other great record-breaking athletes like Michael Phelps? Well, we're going to come to him a little bit later on. You see, Fiji had never, ever won an Olympic gold medal before this year, and they did it in the rugby sevens, and Ben Ryan was their coach. And what I realised when I was listening to his interview after they lifted their medals over their necks and celebrated as the national anthem played and the flag rose up on the pole and the nation celebrated, they had days of national holiday to celebrate their nation's first ever Olympic gold medal. And it was interesting listening to Ben because it became clear that they had set a goal to succeed. You see, success does not happen by luck or by chance. It happens by design. And oftentimes, success is preceded by years, decades, a whole load of history of failure. And Fiji had never won a gold medal before, but they were brave enough to decide that they wanted one. They set the goal to win gold. And having set that goal, they then started organising their resources and putting plans together so they could make that happen. This isn't just true in sports, in the Olympics. This is true in every area of life. If you're starting a new school year and you want to get brilliant grades by the end of the year, when you have your final tests and exams, you have to, as Stephen Covey used to say, you have to begin with the end in mind. You have to set goals. You have to decide in advance what you want to achieve, and then you put all your energies and efforts in towards achieving that goal. You've got to have some targets, something to aim for, something that inspires you. And usually, like it was for the Fiji rugby sevens team, it's something that other people think is impossible. It's out of reach. It's like it's never been done before. And you've got to write that goal down, not just hold it in your head, but you've got to commit it to a document. You've got to put it on your bedside cabinet. You've got to post it on the mirror where you wash your face and brush your teeth each day. You've got to put it as a screensaver on your cell phone, your mobile phone. But you've got to set goals. That is what great Olympic champions do. Secret to success number 2, we learn from that man, Michael Phelps, and it's all about getting expert advice. Very few people, in fact I can't think of anyone, that became successful alone. Success is a team sport. Even in a solo sport like swimming, where you're on your own in the pool, swimming up and down, it's actually a team sport, because behind Michael Phelps, he has not just one great coach, but he has other help and advice coming towards him as well. Bob Bowman is his main coach that gives him guidance, that helps him learn and figure out what he could do better next time, where he can improve his times. But he'll also be getting help and advice from nutritionists, from sports scientists, from video analysts. You name it, he will be going in search of this expert advice that will help him perform at his best. Now, if it's good enough for Michael Phelps, who has won, wait for it, 23 Olympic gold medals in his entire career. That's a world record. Nobody in the history of the Olympic Games has ever won so many gold medals. And if he can go in search of a brilliant coach so he can keep learning things and keep improving his performance, do you think it might be a good idea for a teenager that's starting out to get themselves a coach? Do you think? Do you think it might be a good idea for them to get a mentor? Do you think it might be a good idea for them to get a role model, somebody who can give them pointers and guidance? And why would we do this? Well, to save time, to save ourselves embarrassment, and to save ourselves from failure. You know, I haven't heard one successful person, not just at the Olympics, but anywhere in life, that hasn't had a coach or hasn't regularly sought expert advice to help them get the edge. So, who's your coach? Success secret number 3 is all about measurement and marginal gain. What do I mean? Well, at the Olympics, they measure things. That's how you know whether you've won or not. And it's not just at the Olympics that great athletes measure things. In their training, they are obsessive about knowing how well they are doing. So each training run that they go on, each gym lifting weight session, the food that they eat, the sleep that they get, everything that they do gets measured. And then when you know how well you're doing, when you get that evidence, that feedback, that data that says this is the current result you're getting, it gives you power. You see, a lot of students drift through a whole school year not really knowing how well they're doing in class, not really asking their teachers, well, you know, am I on track or am I off track? They just wait until the end of year exams and hope that they did enough. This, folks, is a recipe for disaster. You need to know on a regular basis. You need to be talking to your teachers every day, every week, every half term, every term. In America, every semester, as you call it. I almost said siesta. That's a sleep in Spain. But you get what I'm saying. You got to measure your progress. And by the way, this isn't just about grades in school. There was a time in my past when I was a teenager that I had low self-confidence. And I heard this quote that said, what gets measured gets mastered. If you don't measure it, you very rarely master it. So I created an imaginary scale for my self-confidence, like from 0 to 100 as a percentage. And I would grade my self-confidence each week. And it's no coincidence that over the course of a full year, my confidence grew more in that year, when I was 16 years of age, than at any other time in my life. What you measure gets mastered. Now, the marginal gain, remember I said secret to success number 3 is about measurement and about marginal gain. So once you're measuring yourself, you then need to find ways to slightly increase your progress and performance each week. All too often, people try and improve huge amounts instantaneously. They want to jump from their current grades where they may be getting 50% and jump immediately to 90%. And it doesn't work like that. They want to run the 100 meters and they're currently doing it in 13 seconds and they immediately want to get it down to 10 seconds. It doesn't work like that. You have to get marginal gains. So we had here in Team GB in Great Britain, our national team had a cycling coach called Sir Dave Brailsford. This dates back to the last Olympics in London in 2012. And Sir Dave Brailsford had this theory about marginal gain. And he said, what you got to do is keep looking for little things that you can improve, that when you stack them all together, make a really big difference. So, for example, in the cycling team, they said, well, actually, the time of day that you eat affects the amount of energy you have when you compete. So that was a little marginal gain. The amount of sleep that you get each night affects your energy levels and how well you compete. So that was another marginal gain. Do you know what? One of the ones that made me laugh the most was this. They found out that apparently if you abstained from sex, it improved your energy levels and enabled you to have that little bit more power that would get you a quicker time on the bike. Another little marginal gain. Now, imagine if we took this marginal gain approach to our achievement in school. All too often people say, the way to improve my maths grades is to study more mathematics. I can understand that, and to some extent it's true. But if you keep studying mathematics, but you're still putting rubbish, junk food into your system, and you're drinking sugar-laden, caffeine, super hyper types of drinks, then the extra lessons are going to be limited in how much they're going to help you improve your performance. If you're leaving your cell phone, your mobile phone on at night, and you're getting, just a couple of hours of sleep before your phone wakes you up with some social media updates, and you're not getting the sleep that you need, then your grades are going to suffer. So I want to encourage you, in secret to success number 3 is measure your progress and look for the marginal gains, the little things that when you add them all together make a big difference. Secret to success number 4 is all about hard work. There's just no way of shortcutting it, folks. The effort that you put in is directly related to the rewards that you get out. These Olympians, most of them have been training for 4 full years in preparation for these championships in Rio. They will get themselves out of bed early in the morning while everybody is sleeping. They'll be training themselves in the gym and doing sessions 3-4 times a day. One of my favourite examples of this is Mo Farrah. Here's a guy who's the first British athlete to win 3 gold medals in athletics. Sets a new world record, never been done before for our nation. But after he won his 3rd gold medal, he talked about how actually in his first Olympic Games, he failed. In the 5,000 metre race in Beijing, he didn't even qualify for the final. And when many people experience failure, they quit. But thankfully, Mo didn't. He came back and he worked harder. And in his home games in London, he won the 5,000 metre gold and the 10,000 metre gold, and he's just won the 10,000 metre gold in Rio. Every single day, this guy runs miles and miles and miles. He talked about how he spent significant amount of time away from his friends and family, working hard in the gym, working hard on his nutrition, working hard, putting the miles in on the roads so that he could win Olympic gold. And I'd say this to you, you have no right to expect to be a champion at anything if you're not prepared to put in the hard work. You've got no right to expect top grades, you've got no right to expect top relationships, top sporting performance, top financial success, or anything else for that matter, if you're not prepared to put in the long, hard work. You just got to do it, folks. Secret to success number 5 is all about visualization. Adam Peaty was the guy in this Olympic Games that set a new world record for the 100 metres breaststroke. And in his interview immediately after winning gold medal, he said something that I'll never forget. He said, "I trained my mind so hard for this. I feel like I've won this race 1,000 times." Really what he was saying is that before he arrived at the Olympics, he would visualise his success over and over again. He would imagine himself on the starter's blocks, waiting for the starter to fire the gun and he'd dive into that pool, and he would see himself gliding through the water with the perfect stroke, turning at the far end of the pool, coming back, beating his opponents and setting a new world record. You see, it's been said by scientists and researchers that the human brain can't tell the difference between reality and the things we make up in our imagination. If you see yourself being successful, your brain begins to believe that you are successful. That gives you the confidence that you need to then come into the real world and make the results happen for real. If there's a test or an exam you want to do well at this year in school, visualize it 1,000 times. if you want to pass your driving test, ask somebody out on a date, travel around the world, or achieve anything else, you have to see it in your mind first. You have to convince yourself that you can do it. And visualization techniques do that. They tap into the power of your subconscious mind. They ignite your self-confidence and make you believe it's possible. Only when you see it happening inside your own mind will you then start to see it happening in the real world. Secret to success number 6 is all about sacrifice. I first picked up on this idea listening to the interviews in the last Olympic Games 4 years ago. And from my hometown here in the UK, Jessica Ennis-Hill won the women's heptathlon. That inspired me to read her autobiography. By the way, there's a little clue. If you wanted to get into the minds of successful people, read their autobiographies. Jess, when she was reflecting back on her childhood, said she came to a point in time, I think it was when she was 15 years of age. She was in school vacations, she was on a holiday, and she went to like an athletics camp. She started to love how she felt when she was practicing athletics, when she was running, throwing and jumping. Her coach from that camp invited her to come back to actually do it competitively. And she got to a little point when she was around about 15 years of age where all her other friends that were not into athletics were going out and doing other things that other typical 15-year-olds do. You know, listening to music, going to parties, staying up late at night, going to fast food restaurants. And she did that. In fact, one day she went to a party and she got drunk and she missed practice. She missed her training with her coach. And when she turned up late, the next time her coach said, "You have a decision to make. You have the talent to become a champion, but you're going to have to make some sacrifices. You cannot live like an ordinary teenager and expect to become the champion of the world. So make a decision. Do you just want to be another ordinary teenager, or do you want to be the champion of the world?" She went home and thought long and hard about it and decided she wanted to become a champion. And then she had to make some sacrifices. Some of her friends bullied her, picked on her, said she was stupid, tried to persuade her to go out and still party and have a good time. But her real friends supported her decision. Over a decade later, she became champion of the world when she won gold medal at the London Olympics. There are sacrifices that have to be made to achieve anything that's worthwhile. You've got to be prepared to give up some stuff. My mum used to say, you can't have your cake and eat it. Are you prepared to make the sacrifices that are necessary to live your dream life? The 7th and final secret to success is that you've got to be in it to win it. So often people look on at other people in admiration saying, "Oh, it'd be kind of nice if I could be that happy. It'd be kind of nice if I could be that confident. It'd be kind of nice if I could be that successful." But they then don't play the game of life to win. And I was just talking about Jessica Ennis-Hill, who previously won gold, and I stayed up late one night to see if she could retain her title. And a young Belgian girl, I know I'm going to pronounce her name incorrectly, I'll apologise in advance, but I think you say it as Nafissatou Thiam, and I might have got that wrong, I'm sorry if I did, but she won gold and pushed Jessica Ennis-Hill down into silver position. And what was interesting in her interviews was that she said that prior to the games, she didn't expect to win gold. She knew that she'd been working hard, she knew that she'd been making some sacrifices and that the hard work and the marginal gains were starting to pay off. But she didn't think she was going to win. But she's like, if you never take part, you never really know. You've got to be in it to win it. And if you turn up, having done all the work, having tried your hardest, then if you're in the competition, there's any chance that you could win the gold medal. And so often I see students that turn up at school, but they're not really in it to win it. They're just going through the motions. They sit in the back corner of the class, seeing if they can get away with the minimum of effort, hoping that they get some decent grades, but they're not really playing to win. Is that you? Have you made that mistake before? I know I have. There are teenagers that moan and complain about the state of their body, but they don't go to the gym, or they go to the gym, but they spend more time posing and looking in the mirror at themselves than they do actually lifting weights and exercising. Folks, you've got to be in it to win it, you know? And that goes for anything in life. If you never apply for your dream job, you'll never get it. If you never ask your dream partner out on a date, you'll never get them and win their heart. You've got to be in it to win it. So my challenge to you is, having listened to these 7 secrets of success, first of all, you've got to set goals. Secondly, you've got to get yourself some expert help. Thirdly, you've got to measure things and look for the marginal gains. 4, you've got to work hard. 5, visualize your success. 6, be willing to make the sacrifices. And 7, you've got to be in it to win it. Which ones of those have you done well in the past? I encourage you to keep doing them. Which ones have you not done so well in the past? I'm encouraging you right now to step up to the plate and make habits out of these things that Olympic gold medalists do every single day. If you like the content that was in this episode, you'll absolutely love my No Limits seminar. For almost 2 decades now, I've presented motivational, inspirational performance coaching seminars to students in high schools, not just here in the UK, but working with teenagers all over the world. And wherever you're listening to this right now, if you'd like me to come and visit your school, present my No Limits seminar to your students, your classmates, then I'd love to hear from you. No Limits is really all about helping young people question what they think they're capable of and getting them to realise they're capable of way more than they ever thought before. It's about dealing with the common excuses that teenagers use for underachievement. It's about moving beyond those things that nothing good ever happens around here, or nobody in my family ever succeeded before, or I can't do it, I haven't got enough time, I haven't got enough money. You know, the usual stuff. And it's about then teaching young people how to set the right goals for themselves. You see, I believe that every human being can be brilliant at something. It's about how you discover your strengths and set appropriate goals. It's not appropriate for everybody to become an Olympic gold medalist. It's not appropriate for everybody to start their own business. But it is appropriate for everybody to have something that inspires them in their life, something to work towards in their future, something that is a dream that they can make come true. And that's really what No Limits is about. How do you set the goal, and then how do you make it happen? And whether that's to achieve more in school or in any other aspect of your life. If you'd love me to come to your school, get in touch. You can look at the show notes. Go to unstoppableteen.com to find out more information. Or drop us an email, info@unstoppableteen.com. And if you mention this episode, I'll happily give your school a 20% discount for me to come in and work with you and work with your classmates. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please subscribe. You can find the Unstoppable Teen podcast on iTunes, on SoundCloud, and on Stitcher. You can, of course, also find it at unstoppableteen.com/podcast. Please share this episode with your friends, with your family, and anybody that you think can benefit from these 7 secrets to success that I've learned from Olympic gold winners. Give us a review, especially if you liked us. You know, if you think we deserve 5 stars, give us 5 stars. If you don't think we deserve 5 stars, then don't give us a review. Give one to somebody else instead. In the next episode, we're going to be focused on what to do when you get test and exam results that weren't as good as you wanted. And we're also going to answer the question of what to do when you do get the grades, tests and exam results that you wanted. So stay tuned for next week. Between now and then, use what you learned in this episode and be unstoppable. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.